Hello everyone, welcome to another battle report. Before we get into it, I'm going to ask you to hit the like and subscribe buttons if you've not done so already. So this was the first round in the Fading Flames Season 2 League against a lovely guy called Wes from the UK, and he was a very sporting player who on several occasions reminded me to dispel his oaken throne, as you will see as the game goes on. So a lovely guy for my first game. You will notice I'm playing Ogre Khans despite weeks of lead up preparing an Orc and Goblin list, and that's because in this tournament you can enter two lists, and my opponent's other list rather, I felt was particularly well suited to trouncing my Orcs and Goblins. So I elected to go with the Ogre Khans because I felt it would be okay against either of my opponent's lists. So Kingdoms of Aquitaine against Ogre Khans. I will flash up the lists and you can take a closer look if you like, and then we will get into deployment. Okay, here we are in deployment then. So the game type is Encircle, and you can see that I've got the defensive position and Wes has got the attacking position, so he's a bit deeper here and further up on the flanks, and the reverse for me. And the secondary objective is to break through, which is where you need to get your scoring units inside your opponent's deployment zone. So let's just talk you through the deployment first. So we'll start with Wes. He's got his Knights Aspirant here, and then a unit of Yeomen, unit of Grail Knights with a Damsel there, and a Paladin BSB. This is his Duke-on Hippogriff, then a unit of Knights of the Realm with another Damsel, unit of Peasant Bowmen, another unit of Yeomen here, and then his Pegasus Knights over here. On my side, a Rock Tusker Cavalry, unit of Saber-toothed Tigers with my General. He's a Mammoth Hunter, and then unit of Trappers, another unit of Trappers, Mammoth Hunter on Rock BSB there, single Saber-toothed Tiger, unit of Tribesmen with my Shaman, a Slave Giant, another Mammoth Hunter with another unit of Saber-toothed Tigers, and another unit of Tusker Cavalry. So that's deployment. Let's get into Vanguards. Okay, quick look at Vanguards here then. So I've Vanguarded with my Trappers out of the forest here and moved this unit up, but I've not Vanguarded with my Tigers because I'm planning to charge his Yeoman units, which have Vanguarded. And I see the fast cavalry here, the chaff, is very important because this is a game between two very fast armies. So getting the charge off will be important. So taking out the chaff becomes key. So no Vanguards rather from the Tigers. Okay, quick look at the end of my movement one here then. So there have been two charges, both at the Yeoman units with the Tigers. Now this left one is particularly risky because I've got to take out these Yeomen, but of course then there is the threat of the counter charge from either the Grail Knights or the Aspirant Knights. I don't think he will come at me with the Aspirant Knights because that would send me this way into my BSB bubble, but the Grail Knights could easily come this way, and then I'm going to end up here. So I will get one go at a rally, but it's a calculated risk. Discipline 9, because I've got to take out the chaff, I think. And a failed charge over here as well on these Yeomen there. And other than that, sort of a cautious advance. We're playing the distance game and zoning each other, I suppose, really. And that's the end of my movement one. Okay, end of my turn one here then. So in the magic phase, I've got Break the Spirit off on this unit of Knights Aspirant, and that's because this unit here has the Stalker standard, so it will pass all of the dangerous terrain automatically. So I'm trying to limit his movement down this left flank really. And then the Tigers and the General here have killed the Yeoman, as you would expect. And that is the end of my turn one. Okay, into Wes's movement one here then. So he has, as predicted, declared a charge with the Grail Knights on my General's Saber-toothed Tiger unit, and I have fled as planned for. Now, I suppose I could have not deployed the general in that unit because then I wouldn't have been risking him. But then he would then know that that unit couldn't vanguard, so he might have played differently. So I don't know that it would necessarily have worked out if I'd have done it differently. But anyway, there you go. He has also gone down the flank here and has ignored the Break the Spirit and has actually lost the champion on the Knight's Aspirant unit. But that's just the way it is, really. Green Knight has also arrived, and the Yeomen, who had previously fled, have rallied over here. And that's the end of Wes's movement 1, really, because he's just sort of hanging back, not wanting to get too close and get all the impact hits off the charges. So that's Wes's movement 1. Okay, end of Wes's turn 1 here then. So he's got Lightning Van Braces off in the magic phase, and that's caused these trappers here to panic and flee after they'd taken 2 wounds, although the Tiger didn't care. He also got the Oaken Throne off, but I saved all my Dispel dice for all the boosted versions of spells that he might get, and my plan throughout the game will be to allow the Oaken Throne to go off and save my dice for the spells that will come from that, and then just get rid of a power die every turn to get rid of the Oaken Throne. I think that's an overall more economical way to deal with the Oaken Throne. And then the Crossbowman up here did a single wound to the Tribesman, and that's the end of Wes's turn 1. Okay, end of my movement 2 here then. So 1 charge with this Rock here into the Aspirant Knights. And I make that charge because I'm satisfied that the distance here is probably sufficient for him to avoid getting charged by the Grail Knights. Rallied my general over here, so that was fortunate, although always likely on a Discipline 9. Splitting the Mammoth Hunter off here, I should have mentioned as well that Wes's Green Knight showed up. So splitting the Mammoth Hunter off here. Playing a zoning game over here, and if these Pegasus Knights decide to come after the Tigers here, then I'll be able to flank charge them with the Tusker Cavalry, so sort of guarding my flank there a little bit, and then chaff up. If I can advance the chaff, then I can move the supporting units kind of behind them and set up the charges is kind of the idea. So that's the end of my movement 2. Okay, end of my turn 2 here then. So I've got Break the Spirit off against the Knights of the Realm in the magic phase. That's mainly to dissuade them from making a surge forwards at this stage. I've got rid of the Oaken Throne as well. The Rock is beaten but not chased after the Knights Aspirant. Unfortunate that one got away, but I don't want to be getting too close to these Grail Knights. And that is the end of my turn 2. Okay, Wes's movement 2 here then. So there have been no charges. His Aspirant Knight here has rallied. He's moved up his Knights of the Realm, but not charged with them. Some interesting play going on over here, chaffing up the Mammoth Hunter with the Green Knight. Now that's a fairly even fight, but if I go in at him later then and don't kill him, which is a very real possibility, then there can be a charge from the Duke here. So that's a problem. And then blocking the charge on the Yeoman here with the Pegasus Knights, because the Tigers don't have the AP to deal with the Pegasus Knights. So some good defensive play in Wes's turn 2. Okay, end of Wes's turn here then. So in the magic phase, he has got off an Oaken Throne, and he's brought back an Aspirant Knight for that. And he's also got Master of Earth off on this chaffing unit of trappers up here, which has caused them to panic and run through the Tribesmen. And then 1 wound on the Tribesmen here from the crossbows. And that's the end of Wes's turn 2. Okay, on to my movement 3 here then. So movement 3, my Rock here failed its frenzy test, and I feel that this is my lack of familiarity with this list coming into play here. I suppose that's the consequence of a last minute change, but he's failed his frenzy test because he's not close enough to the BSB, so that's one to watch for the future, but nothing I can do about it. Other than that, So what have I done? Well, I've not gone after the Green Knight with my Mammoth Hunter. I've instead elected to sort of tiptoe around him a bit, really, and stay out of charge arcs with anything that's big and scary. Bringing the Tusker Cavalry up here, defending the wall in case the Pegasus Knights decide to go after them. Then that way I can advance on his flank and get into the secondary objective as well. Tigers there as bait. I don't think he'll take them. I think he'll go after the Giants, but the Giants at his full health points profile, and they will get to hit him first, which will activate his rage. So I'm fairly happy with the position of that. He's also in BSB bubble range just about over here as well. So if he does need a re-rollable test, then he can take one of those. And then the Rock onto the hill here so that I can really zone this middle area. And that's the end of my movement 3. Okay, end of my turn 3 here. I should have mentioned in my movement phase actually that the trap has rallied over here. So in my magic phase I've got rid of the Oaken Throne again, and I've brought up a totemic summon, and I'm pretty happy with this as a move actually, because it's going to make it difficult for this Grail Knight unit here to get in. It's going to end up kind of corner to corner if the unit goes in at all. The Paladin could charge out, and he's particularly well geared for taking out big scary monsters, but there's nothing that I can do to stop that. But I'm fairly happy with that as a way to kind of pin the Grail Knights to check a little bit, really. And then the Rock has killed the Aspirant Knights in my turn 3, and that's the end of my turn 3. Okay, end of Wes's movement 3 here then. So Wes has declared 4 charges. He's declared a charge with his Duke here on the Tigers, and I must admit I hadn't seen this charge, and that's forced my Tigers to flee towards the flank here. So they're on a discipline 5 now to rally. So that's a mistake on my part, certainly. He's then redirected into the Tribesmen but failed the charge, so that's putting his Duke in a fairly tricky position with a swift striding Rock on a hill nearby. So he's brought the Green Knight up there as a sort of deterrent. He's also got a charge off with the Paladin into the Rock over here, and he has got into the Giant with his Pegasus Knight. So it'll be interesting to see how that combat goes as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it, really. That's Wes's movement 3. Okay, end of Wes's 3 here then. I probably should have also mentioned that the Grail Knight here set off the traps in the forest, and that caused a wound on the damsel there. And I also got 1 wound off on the BSB here from the standard shoot when he charged at me. Anyway, and end of Wes's turn 3, he's got Healing Waters off, which has done nothing, but he's unwounded the BSB, and then later in combat I will do 1 more wound to him. The crossbows have caused a wound on my Rock BSB over here, and then the big news, the Giant was wounded 3 times and therefore had 8 attacks with his great weapons and absolutely munched into the Pegasus Knights, so that combat ended up a draw, which is a slight overperformance for him, but very possible when you've been hit with 8 attacks by a strength 7 Giant. That can happen. So that's what's gone on there. And then the Rock has lost combat here, but of course it's gigantic, so it has 1 rank, and the BSB has no ranks, so it is therefore steadfast and has held. And that's the end of Wes's turn 3. Okay, so this is the end of my movement 4, and I feel at this point the game is going fairly well. I've got my Rock charging in at the Green Knight here. He should absolutely flatten him. He straight down the middle of your average dice roll, he does 2.5 wounds, which means he either kills him outright on the impact hits, or he does get to attack back and then dies. And then, of course, I can overrun into his general here and do some serious damage to him. Whether the BSB Rock would survive or not depends on whether the Green Knight gets to hit him. But so I'm fairly happy with what's going on down here. I'm through on the secondary objective here, and I've got 3 pieces of chaff to prevent the scoring units over here from getting towards my secondary objective. So I'm pretty happy with that, and I've got my Mammoth Hunter on the final piece of chaff here, and I feel I'm fairly well set up over here to deal with these Grail Knights. So yeah, going into movement 4, looking pretty good. So successful charge there. I've brought these tribesmen up so that when the Rock smashes through the Green Knight and then overruns into the Duke, if the Duke should finish off the Rock, it'd probably be down to 1 wound, and then the tribesman would be able to go in and sort of finish the Duke off is the idea. So that's the end of my movement 4 anyway. Okay, end of my turn 4 here. Then I should have mentioned that the tigers fled off in my movement phase, but in the magic phase I've got an Awaken the Beast on the Rock, and I've brought up a Totemic Beast here as well to sort of chaff this Knights of the Realm unit. So in my combat phase then I've done 3d3 strength 8 AP 5 impact hits on the Green Knight and done 0 wounds. And I cannot believe this. He should do 2 or 3 wounds. If he does 3, just flattens the Green Knight straight away. The Green Knight doesn't even get to attack back, and he overruns into the Duke and will inflict a similar amount of damage on the Duke. If he doesn't kill the Green Knight outright, then the Green Knight gets to attack him back, but then probably dies, and the impact hits on the Duke still take place, although the Duke would probably just about edge it. But no. He's done 0 wounds on impact, and the Rock and the Hunter have pretty much flopped in combat as well. They've done a total of 1 wound on the Green Knight, which is absolutely outrageous. The Green Knight has had a really good performance, has caused 3 wounds off a possible 5 attacks. And so combat is drawn, and this is going to mean that the Duke can charge the Rock BSB, which absolutely is not a situation that is likely at all. So really, really unhappy with this outcome here. This simply should not happen. Over here, the Beast, who had random moved into the back of the Paladin, had a fairly decent round of combat, and between them they were able to take the 2 wounds off the Paladin. So a good outcome over here. The Giant has beaten the last Pegasus Knight, and the Mammoth Hunter has smashed through the Yeoman and overrun, although he's overrun a bit too far. He's overrun 11 inches, so he's actually off the board. But cannot believe this. Who has ever seen a single model with 3 wounds and no armor save? Yeah, okay, he's got a 4-up Aegis, but withstand 3d3 impact hits. Absolutely bonkers. Anyway, that's the end of my turn 4. Okay, Wes's movement 4 here then. So 2 charges, 1 at the Totemic Beast over here, and of course the Duke on Hippogriff going into the wounded BSB on Rock, sidestepping the Tiger over here and reforming his crossbowman over here, and that is Wes's movement 4. Okay, end of Wes's turn 4 here then. So he's got the Oaken Throne and Healing Waters off on the Grail Knights, and I've allowed these to go through in order to protect my chaff from, Master of Earth and that kind of thing, because I don't plan to engage the Grail Knights this next turn, because with his positioning he's prevented a Rock charge. So I'm planning to just sort of move the Beast up here and Rock up the side here and just sort of tighten the noose around this unit with all these impact hits. Is what I'm going for there. So I've been content to let those spells go through. The General has killed the Rock, as you would expect if he gets the charge, and the Knights of the Realm have killed the Beast and reformed over here. And that's the end of Wes's turn 4. Okay, on to my movement 5 here then. So there's just been 1 charge with the Tusker Cavalry at the bowmen here, who have fled, but they've not quite fled far enough. I think they only fled 5 inches maybe, and they needed a 6 to take them off the board. So that's a little bit annoying. Tightening the noose over here, chaffing with the Tiger still, and moving the Rock around. Also setting a trap in the forest here, so that when this unit charges the Tiger, it has to take a bunch of dangerous terrains as well, is the idea. Backing off with the tribesmen here, I plan to flee. The situation with the Rock has now left me with little choice, so trying to get as much distance between these units as I can. So see what happens there. Yeah, that's pretty much it really. That's my movement 5. Okay, my turn 5 here then, fairly uneventful turn 5. I've got rid of the Oaken Throne yet again, and the Mammoth Hunter over here killed Agrail Knight with some shooting, and there was no combat, so that was the end of my turn 5. Okay, Wes's movement 5 here then, so he's charged the trappers here with his Duke-on Hippogriff, and that's after he's charged at the tribesmen who have fled. The Green Knight, there was failed to catch them, so I've got a discipline 8 check here to rally in my turn 6, so we'll see how that goes. Really good play here, charging the tiger with the Knights of the Realm, because he can overrun into the Rock, and I had missed that, so fair play to my opponent there. That's really, really good spot. Yeah. That's it really. That's the end of Wes's movement 5. I should have mentioned as well, of course, that the Green Knight also declared a charge against these trappers, causing them to flee, so that's why they are running there. So, end of Wes's turn 5 then. Oh, I also should have mentioned that the crossbowmen over here didn't rally and ran off. Wes has got Healing Waters off, and in his magic phase, and then the Duke has killed the trappers and overran here, and the Knights of the Realm have killed the saber-toothed tiger and overrun into the Rock here, but they have taken some damage from the dangerous terrain on the way. So that's the end of Wes's turn 5. Okay, into my movement 6 then. So no charges. The Totemic Beast has run into the side of this Knights of the Realm unit though, because that's going to give me a point for a charge and a point for a flank. So I'm just going to see if I can pin this unit down here at the end of my turn so that it can't move, is the idea there. Bunker unit here, discipline check on an 8. No, of course not, ran off the board. And then what else have we got happening? So I've brought the tigers up here, so that the Knights of the Realm can't get a charge on my general here. So it's just I think this is like a 9 for him to make this charge in his movement phase. So kind of 50-50 whether he gets in on this one. So basically sort of a defensive setup over here, moving the Tusker Cavalry out of the arc of vision of the Duke on the Hippogriff over here as well. The trappers have also failed their discipline check, so they are effectively dead as well. So things continuing, dice rolls really continuing to go against me in turn 6, although I take nothing away from my opponent for that charge there. That was absolute quality. So that's the end of my movement 6. Okay, end of my 6 here then. So I've dispelled the Oaken Throne in my magic phase, and then the Knights of the Realm have finished off the Rock, and the Beast broke. He only lost combat by 1. He needed a 6, but he didn't get it, and that would have held this unit in place here. So yeah, there you go. That's the end of my turn 6. Okay, end of Wes's 6 here then. So he's made that successful charge, needed a 9, got a 9 off on my general down here. And he has just about got his tiptoe into my deployment zone. I'm told that for the secondary objective breakthrough, you only have to be touching the deployment zone. I thought you had to have your unit fully inside it, but apparently not. So the secondary objective anyway is going to be shared. And that is the end of Wes's movement 6. Okay, end of Wes's turn 6 here then. So he's got Lightning Vambraces off in his final turn, killing 80 points worth of trappers, which I'm going to let go through because I'm saving my dispel dice for the buffs that he will put on his general. He's also got the Oaken Throne off, which I've let go through. So he's got Healing Waters with 5 dice to 5 dice now. He's got Healing Waters off on a 13 with 2 dice. So I'm not going to be dispelling that. So we're 3 to 5 here. And he's got Stone Skin off with 3 dice against my 5 dice. So basically from turn 4 onwards, my dice hate me, is what we can conclude from this. However, his general would then sort of flap around a bit and sort of completely mess up all of his attacks. And the Hippogriff's attacks were saved by my Destiny's Call. But then my general also sort of flapped around a bit. And so, yeah, combat was I think, drawn or I lost, but didn't break. So, yeah, a bit of an anticlimax, really, at the end of the game. So, Wes has scored 2,627 points to my 1,782. So that's a 12-8 in his favour with the secondary objectives shared. I think I deserved some of the loss that I took. My lack of familiarity with the list at an advanced level meant that my Rock was taking a frenzy test without the BSB, and that's my own fault for not practicing enough with this list. And I didn't see the charge on the Tiger, so I fully deserved to lose those. That being said, my Rock BSB should have steamrolled the Green Knight, possibly without even taking any damage. And that would have allowed him to do impact hits on the general. Might not have killed the general, but would have certainly crippled him, which would have prevented him heading this way, which would have left the trappers available to prevent this claiming of the secondary objective here. It would have also allowed my Tusker cavalry here to inflict a bit more damage. So certainly that events in the middle there have taken me from maybe a 12-8 or an 11-9 down to an 8-12. It's definitely swung it in my opponent's favour, although I take nothing from him. He's a quality player, and some of the charges and overruns that he saw, heading out on both flanks were really, really good. I think my Giant got lucky against the Pegasus Knights, but only a little bit, and there's always that risk with Rage. And a great weapon, he can really do some damage. I think I played the Oaken Throne well, saving the dice for the actual effects of the buff, and then just getting rid of it with a power die. I think that's the right way to do it. So key moment that went my way. Could have easily been a different result, but 12-8 on the day. So congratulations to Wes, and thanks for watching and still being here. And that's it, guys, for today. I will see you next time.